Welcome along, guys. Well, I'm getting a lot of questions about the Supermoto recently, how much it costs to convert it, where are the Supermoto videos. So today the sun is shining, the roads are quiet, as they always are when you're on this types of roads. So I'm going to come out on the Supermoto, talk about costs to do a conversion like this, to buy the wheels, to do the gearing, to get the brakes, look at the cost difference between buying this and say a ready-made Supermoto like the 690 or 701, and just basically come out and have some Supermoto fun, because I've got a little bit of news to tell you about this bike. Let's jump on, let's do some wheelies. no wheelies, this is YouTube.
Tell me why'd you have to go and drive me so crazy? Now I'm feeling lost without you, and I just can't be without you, baby. Want you all night long, want you all night long. Tell me why'd you have to go and drive me so crazy? Now I'm feeling lost without you, and I just can't be without you, baby. Want you all night long, want you all night long, want you all night, want you all night, want you all night, want you all night, want you all night.
So Supermotos, what is it I like about Supermotos? If I only had to have one bike, it would be a Supermoto. The reason being is, maybe I'm just lucky. Where I live, there's loads of roads like this, just clear, single track, back roads basically, no police, 60-mile-an-hour speed limits everywhere, and it's the perfect place to come out and just have a bit of fun on your bike without having to think police, without having to think traffic. It's actually 4:30, coming up to 5 o'clock now, so it's almost rush hour and these roads are still empty, and that's what I love about it. These bikes are so much fun. So Supermoto bikes are something I got into about 4 years ago. Started off with my little KTM 640, which I love that bike. Me and Womble both got one of those, and we had such fun on that bike. Then I got myself the 701, which a lot of you will remember. A lot of you subscribe to my channel from my days with the... Oh yeah! With that bike, fantastic bike. I then, I'd say, made the mistake of selling that bike because I really wanted a Super Duke. So I sold the 701. Actually, I swapped the 701 for the Super Duke, and then I spent a year with no Supermoto in the garage. Even though the Super Duke is like a beefed up Supermoto, you can't really come and ride these sorts of roads. So I missed the fun of going out and having the thrill of these roads when I had the Super Duke. So then I thought, well, I have to get another Supermoto. What should I get? I'd already had a 701, so I didn't really want to buy the same bike I already had, the same bike I'd already modified. You know, have to re-buy all of those mods again. That just seemed like too much of a bizarre thing to do. So I thought I'd get the little KTM 500 EXC and convert it to Supermoto, because I mean that really is the ultimate Supermoto. That's what the race bikes are really based on, or probably the 450 version, but you know what I mean. That's what the race bikes are based on. I've actually had this a year now, would you believe? My insurance runs out today, or tonight, so this is why I've come out today, really, to come out on this bike, because this is actually going to be a last ride of this machine, I'm sorry to say. I've decided that I'm selling this, not because I don't like it, but because I'm using it too much. That is the problem. I'm using the bike too much and putting too many hours on it. What I really want to get is the new 690, the new KTM 690 SMCR. I was at the launch, as a lot of people will know. I love that bike. I'm actually borrowing the Enduro version next week, so I can get used to it. It's not the SMCR version, but it's the Enduro, very close. I can get used to the power of the bike, the weight of the bike, and I think I've decided this is going. Well, I have decided this is going, and I'm either getting a 690 or a 701. That's what it's going to be. I will buy another 701 because they've got the new 701 uses the later 690 Duke motor. It's a lot less vibey, it's a lot more powerful, so it's like a different bike really. So as fantastic as this bike is, if I were to keep it with the amount of miles I'm doing on the Supermotos, I'd be going into 150 hours on the bike, which the value of the bike is just going to plummet with those sorts of hours on. And it's the maintenance. I mean, you have to change the oil on this every 15 hours. That is really coming to be every couple of weeks you're having to do an oil change. Every month you're having to do valve checks. It's just becoming a bit too much. And if I want to go out for I want to do a little mini tours on this, like overnight stays, perhaps even ship this down to the Pyrenees, not this, but a Supermoto down to the Pyrenees, and go for a couple of days riding around the Pyrenees. And I couldn't do this. I'd have to take the service kit with me to do an oil change halfway through the trip. Look at the views around here. Absolutely incredible. I mean, Supermotos are hooligans bikes. There's no denying it. And I am a hooligan. So what I'll do in a minute, I'll pull over and I'll just talk you through some of the mods, because if you want to build one of these, it's fantastic. I mean, it's an amazing bit of kit. It's so light. I mean, I think it's 105 kilos. 105 kilos. I mean, the 690 701s are 145 kilos. So these are much more nimble, much more flighty. But with the right mods, the 701 and 690s can be transformed into just as crazy as this. Or just a bit, and with that extra practicality, that is the thing. Oh, we've got a bit of traffic. It's a traffic jam. So how do you go about building yourself a proper Supermoto? Your own bespoke Supermoto? Well, first of all, you get yourself an enduro bike. Now, you can go if you like. I wanted to go for KTM. Obviously, KTM's premium off-road bikes, bulletproof. A lot of people go the 450 EXC, which is slightly, this is the 500, the 450 is obviously smaller CC. It's a bit more revvy, but I wanted that extra bit of grunt, so I went for the 500. This is what they call the 6 days version. So this has some extras on it standard, some of the power parts standard. So this has these orange triple clamps, which the 6 days model come with. They have the custom sticker kits, different bars, a few other little orange trinkets. But it's just a cheaper way of buying some of the extra accessories you might want. Let's go up here. The views, how beautiful it is around here. So these are really the ultimate Supermoto if you can put up with the maintenance and the short range, I guess, which I thought I could, but because I'm using it, it's so great and Supermotos are so fantastic, I'm just using it much more than I anticipated I would do, really. And I'm just going to end up running it into the ground in no time at all. So I think it's time to upgrade to that more road-focused Supermoto, or I guess downgrade to that more road-focused Supermoto. Okay, so let's pull over and I'll just walk you through some of the costs, some of the specs and some of the costs. So there it is, the ultimate Supermoto. It does look better than the 701, it does look better than the 690, there's no denying it. They look absolutely fantastic. So the main things which make a Supermoto really is the wheel change. Going from the off-road knobbly tyres to sticky, well, race tyres or road tyres to give you that grip. So I went for, on the wheel front, I went for SM Pro wheels, which they do all sorts of wheels, all sorts of wheels for enduros, Supermotos. One thing I'd recommend when going for wheels is a cush drive. I paid extra and got a cush drive on the rear sprocket. Without a cush drive, you'll find that when you know, it's very direct, it's very snatchy on and off the throttle. There's nothing to take up that lash when you go to drive, and between the drive and the wheel. So with the cush drive, it just smooths things out a little bit and makes it a much nicer ride. I think it was an extra £150 or so for the cush drive, but I think that's worth getting. So a set of these SM Pro wheels, these are the top of the range ones with the fade orange to black, because it's got to look tasty as well, isn't it? But these I think were about £1,000, £1,100, something like that. They've also got alternating black and orange nipples. So you've got a black nipple, so you've got orange nipples on the black side and black nipples on the orange side. But yeah, absolutely the business. I absolutely think they're fantastic wheels. I've had no problems whatsoever with them at all, so highly recommended, and they look the bollocks. Another thing you need to do if you're going to build a Supermoto is upgrade the brakes. So I went for the Motomaster setup. These give you incredible feel, absolutely incredible feel. I mean, it's one finger braking on this, one finger braking, nothing more than that. And this full setup, which was the caliper, the disc, the lines, and also the master cylinder, all that setup, I think it's about £830 for the full braking setup. And you need, and it's incredible. A lot of people, you know, I know KTM do the Behringer 6-pot caliper, but a lot of people have said that doesn't give you the same feel as what this does, and this just gives so much feel. I've never felt, it's the best brakes I've ever tried. Put it that way, it's the best brakes I've ever tried. The bike's so light, of course, you barely have to give any pressure on the brakes to stop it, but it's a single finger braking. But it's not just the power, it's the way they feel and the response from the brakes. Fantastic. So I really do highly recommend those Motomaster kit. If you don't want to splash out big bucks on a full braking system, or if you want a bike you can convert easily between on and off road, then I'd recommend just getting a spacer for you get a bigger disc, because Motomaster sell these discs separately, but get just a spacer to space the standard caliper further away from the disc, so you can get the bigger disc in. And that in there, about, I think it's about 60 quid just for the spacer, and the discs alone are about £100, something like that. So it's a much cheaper way of upgrading your brakes without having to, you know, without splashing out for the full setup. But that full setup is incredible if you want the ultimate stopping power. Another thing you've got to change is the sprocket, the gearing, because obviously for off-road bikes these come with a 52 T3 sprocket, so you're limited to about 60-70 miles an hour. You can only cruise at like 50 with the standard gearing, so if you're going to use this on the road you've got to change the gearing. I went for a 44 tooth rear sprocket and a blingy gold chain, Regina chain, and of course some orange bling, some compulsory orange bling. But you have to change the gearing, and I found that 44 tooth rear setup actually pretty much perfect. It's geared a bit lower than say the 701. The 701 is geared higher, but you can cruise at 70 on this. You can't really cruise over 70, but you can cruise at 70. It'll probably do about 100 mile an hour flat out, whereas the 701 will do sort of 120, they say, flat out. It's a 13 tooth front sprocket and a 44 tooth rear, and that seems to work very well indeed. Gearing swap will cost you about 120 quid, something like that, for the sprockets and the chain. It's not a ridiculous amount of money. You can do it cheaper. I did it because I wanted the blingy stuff. I mean, that's all you need for the basics, really. Upgrade the brakes slightly and a set of wheels. Tyres, you want something pretty sticky with lots of grip. I've gone for now these Rosso Corsa 2s, which I'm absolutely loving. I was a bit dubious whether there'd be, you know, whether the bike would be heavy enough to get heat into those, but I've been really impressed with them. I did have some Avon 3D Extremes on here before, but because of the torque, they literally lasted about 30 hours or something like that. It was hardly any time at all, but I can tell already these are going to last much longer, because these have this triple compound. You've got super sticky rubber on the outside here, which is equivalent to what they use in BSB, that BSB Pirelli grade stickiness. You've got an intermediate grade of rubber in the middle, and you've got a hard grade right in the centre. So when you've got all that torque being put through the back tyre, that can actually take it, but the more you lean the bike, the softer you're getting, and at the end you've got super sticky plasticine basically. So that's all you really need. Of course, you know, you really want a bit of this as well. You really want a nice juicy obnoxious exhaust. And I went for the Power Parts FMF 4.1, which is anodized titanium, anodized blue. It's just a Larry pipe basically with a carbon end tip on it. Sounds amazing. Absolutely love it, and putting that on seemed to transform the bike's performance. It seemed to give it an extra bit more shove, and of course some more extra noise as well. All important is the obnoxious noise of your Supermoto. Blingy bits, they're not necessary, but it's nice to have a bit of bling. Mudpig Racing foot pegs, Mudpig Racing rear disc guards, you know, just bling basically. A service handguards. I've also got a service frame protectors as well. What you find with these bikes is the plastics do get a little bit scraped, a little bit marked, because you know these are active bikes. You're moving around on them all the time and you're in contact with them, with your legs, you know, gripping on. So you do tend to find you get little scuffs on the plastic just from normal use really, but that can't be avoided, and it's to be expected. But you can get whole new sets of plastics for sort of 120 quid for these, so it's not a problem. I've also put on the 701 or the 450 FX Supermoto front mudguard. That goes straight onto the bike. It's a bit shorter. Standard seat. The seat isn't too bad on the right. I thought it was going to be a nightmare sitting on this seat, but it's actually not too bad unless you're going on a real long trip. I can put up with it, but there she is. Let's jump on for some more fun. I'm going to miss this bike, I have to say. I'm really going to miss this bike, but I think I'm going to enjoy the 690 or 701 more. And there's a lot you can do to the 701s. You know, I'm probably going to do mods to it, quite heavily modify it. So it's a whole nother build series. I'm going to do probably a Rottweiler airbox kit on it. That unleashes a hell of a lot more power, a hell of a lot more torque from the bike. So I'm going to do all that. I'm going to probably change the wheel. I might get another set of these SM Pro wheels for it in Larry orange and black. So I've got a lot of plans. So all in, costs for doing this, if you add everything up, oh, that was the giveaway back there. If you add everything up, I think I bought this bike for about £7,000. It had 12 hours on when I bought it. Brand new, they're about 8.2, 8.3 for the 6 days 500s. You know, wheels, as I say, are £1,100. The brakes set up to about £800. So if you were to do what I did and got a low hour second-hand bike, you'd still be looking about £9.5 grand to do the build, which you can get a brand new 690 SMCR for 9.5, which is a lot of money, I agree, but it's the same price as modding this, buying a second-hand bike. If you're going to spend out and get a new bike, you're into sort of the 11 grand. So to buy all this new and put it on a new bike, you're talking 11 grand, which is an absolutely insane amount of money. What you do find on the power delivery on one of these are more revvy, because it's, you know, this is a competition engine on here. These are built to rev, whereas the 701 is a bit less revvy. Well, it depends. The new 690 is quite revvy. That new Duke 690 motor does have some legs on it actually, but this is definitely more revvy than the 690, but it doesn't have the same torque levels. It doesn't have the same pull. You come out in rush hour on a sports bike and try and have this much fun. It's not going to happen. I'm also testing out a bit of new gear today. I've got the new Nox Handroid pods, which are the shorty Handroids. Really liking them so far, super comfortable. So we'll bring you a bit of a review of these. We'll let you know how I'm getting on with them. I've also got the new Nox Urban Pro shirt, which is a mesh shirt with body protection, chest protector, back protector. But not only that, it also has abrasion resistant material, so if you're to fall off, this is an all-in-one sort of jacket really, so if you fall off you've got the abrasion material so you can slide, abrasion resistant as well as the impact resistant. So it's going to be great in the summer this, so I'm going to be super cool. So again, I'll let you know how I get on with it. Ooh, this is tight and twisty. That front brake, I'm always on the front brake, love it, bit of front brake. Foot out, front brake, yeah, tickle the clutch. It's incredible fun! So I'll be incredibly sorry to see this bike go. I've actually just advertised it on eBay. So it's on eBay, probably at the moment when this video goes up. Well, that's rather good timing, chops. I'll put a link to the auction in the description. Why not? Anyway, there we go. Hopefully it'll be a 690 I'll be getting, if not it'll be a 701. But I'm not giving up Supermotos. I love Supermotos. I will be back soon with my new Supermoto and we can start all the mods again. Yay! This is power level 1, which is full power. Jesus! Go! Look at this. It's there, boy. Check it, man. This thing is absolutely bonkers. It's also pretty quick. Yeah, alright. Never mind getting beat up. Give me this any day of the week. Oh,